Somebody that's visually impaired or blind. Before guide dogs came along, and before Teresa got her guide dog, she had to work with a cane. Now, this is a cane that visually impaired people or blind people use. They run it along the ground, and they find where they're going. You'll see them. How many of you've probably seen blind or visually impaired people using a cane, and when it comes to something, they can tell that that's where they need to stop or where the stairs drop off. But they still need somebody with them to be able to get around and go where they need to go. But with a guide dog, you don't need this anymore because that guide dog provides that person with the mobility and independence that they need. Today I have Teresa Blevins with me and her guide dog Liberty. They're going to be coming up here and joining me. They're coming in from the back of the room now. As you watch, Teresa gives Liberty commands as to how to go. And see, Teresa's able to walk and get around right by herself with the use of her guide dog, Liberty. It's such a wonderful way to provide her independence and mobility. She'll be telling Liberty how to. Liberty lets her know that she's at stairs, and once she gets her foot up, she'll tell Liberty to go up to the next step where she can find her footing until she gets up here on the stairs. Now, Teresa graduated from Guide Dogs of America a little bit over a year ago, so she's been working with her guide dog for a little bit over a year. She graduated in January of 2011, or 12, excuse me, and 11. I had it right, didn't I? But anyway, she spent 28 days there working at the school, learning how to work with her guide dog and learning the commands and the things she needs to know to be independent in her life. I'm going to turn the program over to Teresa. She'll be able to tell you a little bit about her experience at the school, how her guide dog is helping her to be mobile and independent. And Teresa, here's the microphone. Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Hi everyone, my name is Teresa Blevins, and this is my guide dog Liberty. As Adam said, I went to Guide Dogs of America School in January of 2011. So I've had Liberty now for 2 years, and she helps lead and guide me around safely to be able to be mobile and independent to get out and do the things that I normally like to do. She helps me to go to the shopping centers. She helps me to go to the doctor's offices and to the pharmacies and things to get my medicine. And I may need someone to drive me there because I no longer drive. But once I get there, she can lead me into the store by going through the parking lot. Of course, we're in the handicap parking, and they're trained for those lines in the handicap parking to be able to guide me into the store, to the curb, to the doors. She finds upstairs, downstairs, and I may have to have someone give me directions of how to get to an elevator. They can say, okay, you need to go straight ahead, take a left, take a right, and it'll be up there on your right. Well, I can tell her to forward, that means go ahead, and I can tell her left and right, and then I can say find the elevator. She will take me directly to the elevator button, so where I can press the button to get on the elevator. And I was explaining to them, some elevators beep when they're going to the different floors. That is very good for a visually impaired because they have to hear those beeps to find out what floor to get off on. So when we're on the elevator and if I'm staying in a place that's like 7 floors and we're on the 7th floor and the elevator stops in between, if I tell her we're on the 7th floor, believe it or not, if the elevator stops on the 2nd floor, she's listening for the beeps too. She won't get off. When it gets to the 7th floor, she'll get off. Very, very smart. So she can stop at the curbs to help me cross the street. If I don't hear the car coming, but she sees it and hears it, She will not cross that street. She has what they call intelligent disobedience. So if I give her that command to cross the street, if I start to cross and she hears the car, she'll turn around and take me back to the curb. But if she hears the car before we start, she'll stand in front of me and won't let me go. So she is very, very smart. They flew me to Guide Dogs of America. It's the school I went to. It's in Fillmore, California. They flew me to the school. I stayed there for 28 days with 9 other students. And during those 28 days, we learned the commands to where we would be able to get out there and be mobile, to be able to command the dog to do what we needed to do. And they flew me back home with her, and if I had any problems after I got home, all I had to do was make a phone call, and they would send someone to my house to help me out with any troubles that I have. But she just, she's so smart that she can lead and guide me in every situation. When I got off the plane, and we had to wait for the luggage, you know, you have to go and wait for your luggage to come around on the thing to get it off. Well, I asked her to go find me an empty seat, and in that crowded airport, she walked over and found me an empty seat to sit down in while we were waiting for the luggage. So if we're in a crowded room and I need a seat, she'll find me an empty seat. If there's not an empty seat, she'll wait till one comes available and then she'll go to it. I mean, she's just that smart that she'll do whatever I command her to do. I was telling some people earlier, we went to a building that was being constructed, and as we got over there, they finished the sidewalks. You know how sidewalks are? Sometimes they can be kind of slippery or feel like they're kind of wet. Well, I was going back through the sidewalk, and in the part where it has the handicap, I kind of slipped down. She thought that it was her fault, but I reassured her it wasn't her fault because she didn't know it was slippery. But when we went back to that building 3 or 4 months later, when they had completed it, when we were walking back through that area, she remembered that I fell down. So she took me up around that spot instead of taking me through that same spot again. So that's how they are. They're so smart. They have that memory that they know what's safe and what's unsafe. Broken sidewalks, holes, or anything like that. If we're going along there and she finds a place that's not safe or she doesn't think it's safe for me to cross, she'll stop. And then I do what they call the 3-point check. I put my right foot out and I touch. And then I touch with my hand to see what the problem is. It could be a wall. And she may have got distracted. If someone distracts her, she may have got distracted and she went straight too far and maybe we were supposed to turn. But if she stops me, then I can tell there's a wall there, and then I'll say, hop up, and then she'll remember I needed to go right or left or whatever I needed to do. And they're just like anything else. They're trained, but they still have times where they may get distracted just like we do. You know, before I lost my sight, I could be walking along and I might have walked too far, you know. That happens to all of us. But even a blind person, you know. But if it's a broken sidewalk, I do know we were traveling and we were walking down the sidewalk to go somewhere just to do, I think just a regular walk outside. And the sidewalk was kind of cracked and broken, worn and torn some. And she stopped and I was like, okay, what's going on? So I stuck my foot out and the sidewalk was broken. And when I got my foot in a spot that was solid and safe, and I told her to hop up, then we continued on. But she stopped to begin with to make sure that we were going to be safe and me be able to walk in that area. So they're trained, they take 2 years of training, and like I said, I've had her now for 2 years and 2 months, and she has just, when they talk about bonding, we're totally bonded. Sometimes she knows the command before I give it to her. Like sometimes when people say ready, she'll go ahead and get up. But she knows that we're here speaking today. She's so smart. She knows that I'm talking about her and telling you about her. So she's going to just lay there. She's not going to do anything. But I'm going to give the microphone to Adam, and I'm going to show you what she does. Some people say, what's on her back? This is her harness. This right here is her harness. This is what we call her uniform. Teresa, and they get up and they put on their uniform to go to work. This is her uniform. This tells her she's ready for work. So she knows that when she puts that on, we're going somewhere. And as you can tell right now, she knows I'm fixing to take it off because her tail starts wagging. When the harness comes off, that's her free time. It's just like going out for playtime on the playground. So we're going to take her harness off and let's see how she does when we do that.
Part of the training that we do at Guide Dogs of America is allowing these dogs to act just like any other dog. As you can see, when the harness comes off, she's just like any other dog. She likes to play. She likes to run. She likes to do different things. She'll fetch a ball. She'll do all kind of stuff just like a regular dog does. And that's part of the training. We want them to be a dog too. We don't want them to feel like they have to work all the time. We want them to enjoy themselves too. As you'll notice here in just a moment, when Teresa puts the harness back on, watch her tail as it stops wagging. She knows she's going back to work. She knows it's time to get serious and get ready to take Teresa to wherever she needs to go and guide and direct her. As you notice, the tail stopped wagging. She's ready to go back to work now. This is part of the training that they go through. The 18 months of training that they go through are 24 months that they go through. 18 months is spent with a puppy raiser, and then the last 6 months is spent at the school learning the habits and the traits of a guide dog that they need to guide and direct a visually impaired person. It's very, very nice that they're able to do that. It gives that person the independence like you and I have to be able to go and do things like you and I get to go. Now, guide dogs get to go to restaurants, they get to go to movie theaters, they get to go anywhere you and I go. Federal law provides that they can do that, and we're so thankful that federal law provides that. And when you see a guide dog in a place, when you talk to a person that has a guide dog, just realize that dog is working. Don't try to pet that dog. Talk to the person, and a lot of times if you talk to that person, they'll take the harness off, and they'll let you pet their guide dog. That way that they know that their uniform is off, and they're able to have free time. But if you go up to a person and you start talking to the guide dog, you might distract that guide dog and cause the visually impaired person to injure themselves or go in the wrong direction or anything. So share this with your parents, share this with your friends about guide dogs. That you may have questions if you go to a restaurant and you say, well, why is this dog coming in this restaurant? Well, federal law allows that dog to go into the restaurant because that blind or visually impaired person has the same rights as you and I do to go in that restaurant. And the guide dog is just a tool to give them the means of mobility to get wherever they need to go. Thank y'all so much for being here today and allowing us to come. Teresa has one thing she wants to do. Teresa likes to sing. So she's going to sing for y'all a song, and then we're going to have a very special activity that y'all are going to be able to get involved with, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it.
Yes, Adam says I love to sing, and that's one of the things that I've enjoyed doing because I can still get out and go places and do the things that I love doing. And I love to meet people, and I love to let them know that just because you have something that may be different from someone else doesn't mean you can't get out and do anything that you want to do. You still have that privilege. And Liberty gives me that freedom to where I can go out and I can meet people and I can go out there with confidence and mobility and independence, and I can still do whatever I want to do without any restraints. So I'm going to sing to you this morning, God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Now, I need the teachers to help me out just a minute. We're going to have a fun activity, and I need 5 student volunteers that are not afraid to put on a blindfold, and I need 1 teacher volunteer that's not afraid to put on a blindfold.
My class, sit down. We've already got one out of our class. Sit down. Will, sit down.
Now, 1 teacher volunteer that's not afraid to put on a blindfold. We'll do it like we did before. We'll let the students choose who they want to go and be participating in our little excursion here. All right, students, who do y'all want to participate? Which teacher? Which teacher do you want? All right, come on up.
Okay. All right. On this little thing that we're going to do, you have to be real quiet. What we're going to do is each one of these people are going to put on a blindfold. Okay?
It's too beautiful.
So if you think about it, if you ever thought about closing your eyes and seeing how you got in the building, do you remember how you walked into the building and you found your seat? So close your eyes for a second and see, which way would I go if I needed to get out of the building? You ever thought about it? Okay. So if you're a visually impaired or blind person, you have to remember directions. You have to know how you got into the building, how you got to your seat, and how you leave that building when you start to leave. You have to, your senses have to kick in to make sure that you get out of that building safely. Even if you were walking with a cane, you'd have to know which way to go when you left the building to get out of the room. But the dog, like I said, Liberty is so smart. She remembers how we got in here, and she'll know how to get me out of here. And we came in 2 different ways. We came in through the back door when we first got here to get up on the stage. And if you'll notice, when I came in to speak, I came in, if I go straight down, I have to turn right and go back out the door. So I know how to get out of the building, so that's good, and she knows how to get me out of the building. But just think about it, that when you lose your sight, simple things like taking your toothbrush and brushing your teeth, you've got to know where that toothbrush is to put that toothpaste on.
All right, now we've got their blindfolds on. I want you to be very quiet and don't say a word. I'm going to give them something. They're going to have to figure out what they have.
So you can't say anything, you have to be real quiet, because they need to figure out what Adam's going to be giving them in their hand. Because when you're blind and visually impaired, you have to remember how things feel. like I was talking about the toothpaste and the toothbrush, it took me a while to figure out. I had to put my finger on the end of the toothbrush to get the toothpaste on the brush. It's a simple thing that I did every morning when I had sight, because I knew where the brush was when I looked down. But when I lost my sight, I had to figure out how to get that toothpaste on the toothbrush before I could brush my teeth. So everybody quiet now. Don't let them know. They got to figure out what it is.
Look at him.
Okay?
Now then, can you tell us what you have in your hand? A shoe. Put your blindfold on. Put your blindfold down. Leave your blindfold down.
And I'll take it
I want
off.
you to take that shoe and tie it like you're tying your shoe.
Keep your blindfold on. Keep it on.
Gotta have your blindfold on.
Look at him looking at it.
If you will feel on the side of your shoe, you have holes that come out, laces. You need to lace those, put the laces through those two holes, and then tie your shoe. These are things that blind or visually impaired person has to go through every day in life. This is just a simple activity that we learn when we're in school at your age that people have to continue doing throughout life. It makes it even more complicated when you can't see what you're doing, when you're only able to do it by feel. So this is a neat little activity that we have for people to try and do. So if you can tie your shoe, that's great. If you can't, I understand. Let's see over here. Oh, our teacher did good. She got both shoelaces. She got it laced up in the hole, and she tied her shoe. You can take your blindfold off. And what's your name? All right. Thank you very much. I hope this helps you understand what a blind or visually impaired person goes through.
He's still got it.
Throughout their lives.
He's got a big knot.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you. Yeah. All right, Carson, you can take your blindfold off. Thank you very much. Y'all stay seated. I got something.
Let's be quiet. Quiet.
River.
We thank you so much for inviting us to come out and share with you today. And if you ever meet a blind person with a guide dog, make sure that you talk to the person and ask them before you pet the dog. Because we don't want to get the dog distracted, okay? And as you are going out in life every day, just remember, you can do anything that you put your mind to, even if you might be different from everyone else.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all been a great group of children and a great group of kids. We love coming out and sharing with different schools. And we want to thank your school for having us here to share with you about guide dogs and about way dogs are helping people to get around in their lives. Thank you so much.